starting off, how did you get into this AI technology field?
For the past couple of decades, I have really put my professional work at the intersections of communication, education, and technology. And when generative AI started becoming very popular on the scene, I'd already been playing in the digital likeness and synthetic media space for a couple of years. And so for me, AI, especially as we know it today, is providing yet another channel of communication. In fact, multiple other channels of communication. And that interest really just aligned with everything I was doing. So I took it to the next level.
And so today, what are you doing now when it comes to AI generated content?
In terms of the content I'm producing today, my company that I'm a partner in, along with two other people, Render, we are digital likeness experts. So we are creating custom digital clones of people. And initially, people get freaked out when they hear this. But I want to say, number one, my doctoral dissertation was on studying the effectiveness of these types of technologies and communication channels. And they are effective, but more on that later, I'm sure. But with these technologies, you are able to communicate in a personalized way at scale. So let's say you are a salesperson and you need to send a message to 200 different clients. We know that if you personalize or customize communication, you get a better recipient experience on that. But the reason we don't do that is time. But now with artificial intelligence, generative AI, synthetic media, we can mass personalize things at scale and give people more personalized experiences and allow owners of these likenesses to create really great pieces of communication.
And to do this, kind of how does that work? I know you had mentioned earlier you have to record someone's likeness and get kind of an idea of voice and just, their face and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways to get a custom avatar on the market now. But if you are in business and you're looking for something that can deliver in the most optimal way at 4K quality, translate your voice into 28 different languages so you can reach people no matter what language is their primary language, you need to go through a few extra steps. Our process starts with a 90-minute in studio appointment. We have studios all across the United States, and in this appointment, we do two types of training for the physical and one type of training for the auditory, the voice. And so we do your voice training, and then we do two types of physical training. One is called inference training, which is really we're monitoring how your body moves. And it's a little awkward. You'll stand, you'll do different movements on the screen. And in fact, my recording session is what we use for people. So you watch me doing movements and then you're mimicking those to kind of get natural feel. And then we do a separate cloning process on the face where you are reading scripts that are sometimes awkward, but they are able to produce all the different ways that your mouth may be moving when you're pronouncing words. Those two things combined with the video, the audio recording, all get merged together to create your custom digital likeness.
So, I mean, it looks pretty realistic. I saw on y'all's website.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the technology has really advanced over the past few years.
it has. I got my first avatar created of me in 2021, over a year before ChatGPT even became a known entity mainstream. So being in this space, it's very interesting because a lot of people will confuse synthetic media with deep fakes. And I think it's important to be able to distill between the two. A deep fake is where you take an existing piece of content, an existing video, an existing photo, and then you're manipulating on the top of something that already exists. So if you look on TikTok, there's a great deep fake account for Tom Cruise where this guy who has the same body build as Tom Cruise films himself doing crazy things and then edits Tom Cruise's face and voice over it. That's a deep fake. Synthetic media is creating something completely new that didn't exist before. And I liken it to like vegan leather. Like it looks like leather, it feels like leather, but it's not quite leather. Well, synthetic media of your digital likeness, it looks like you, it sounds like you, but it's not quite you, but it's really, really close. And every time you generate or render a new video with your likeness, it's creating a piece of content that never actually existed before.
You had mentioned earlier, sometimes when people hear AI generated and stuff like that, they get a little bit nervous. Are there some ways
Mhm.
that it could be used the wrong way?
Yeah, and is it okay if I rewind and give a little history lesson first? Is that possible?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what's really interesting is every single communicative technology throughout human history has been met with both fear and with awe, has been used for ill and for good. And I mean, poor Gutenberg and the printing press back in the day, I mean, places were burned because of this thing. Human behavior hasn't changed all that much over time, but the ways and the channels through which we communicate has. And so, with this generative AI revolution, I mean, artificial intelligence has been around since the 1950s. We've used it on a daily basis for dozens and dozens of years. But now that it's in the public consciousness, people have some fears. And like anything, there are going to be illicit actors. There are going to be poor users of it. They're going to be people who are not morally acting in the best interests of society or in other people's best interests. That's with anything we do. So the onus to me is on those of us who are ethical users of these technologies, these stewards of innovation in this space, to make sure that people are aware of the many positive uses that can come from it. Because if we stop advancing the positive uses because we're afraid of the negative actors are just going to rise faster and further, and we're going to have this big gap and not be able to catch back up.
And you have done research in the past that shows, it's very important to label things when things are not actually true, not the actual person, just because the skepticism can rise from that if
Mm-hmm.
not.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is I'm a big believer in data and having scientific data and proof to back things up. And so I decided to go back later in life to get my doctorate in business, studying specifically synthetic media to see, is it a good communication channel? Can it work? Can people learn from it? Can people trust it? Can people engage with it? And so, through hundreds, about 300 participants across all age groups and demographics, we played a 2-minute video. One was of the real me, and one was of my avatar doing the exact same script. And what we found is that between me and the avatar, there was no difference in what people learned when they took a quiz for retention afterwards, which kind of bruised the real me's ego a little bit. I'm like, man, I thought I was better than that. But you know what? If a technology can deliver basic information in a more efficient way, that frees my time up to have these conversations, to go meet with potential clients, to be recruiting for my business, to be developing. And that's exciting. And we also analyze them biometrically, meaning I watched and analyzed the faces and the pupil movement of people who were watching the video. So there is scientific biometric data backing this up, that there was no statistically significant difference in engagement or trust on either a biometric or a self-reported measure. So what that means is, okay, we know these things are an effective communication channel. We can use digital likeness and avatars to communicate well, but are there caveats? And yes, there are. Because between those who watched an avatar video that didn't say it was an avatar and those who watched one that said it did, when asked about how they felt about the technology, those who actually thought they were watching a real human but were watching an avatar and later found out, their sentiment, their score, their perception plummeted to a point that it would be irreversible damage for most businesses. So, what we need to do is find ways to naturally disclose that we are using artificial intelligence to help generate some content. This is going to be commonplace. There's already tags on social media. This is only an extension of it. For me, every time I use my digital likeness, you will see somewhere on the page or directly burned into the video that this is a digital likeness of Dr. Jill Schiffelbein. And I make sure that that is very prominent and people know what it is right away.
When it comes to y'all's company, what types of companies could be using this type of technology?
There are so many uses for this technology. So let me just give you a handful on both like the profit side and kind of also the feel good side, right? So on the profit side, you think of people who have automations in their business, who have to communicate at scale, where a personal touch is going to matter, and especially where that touch from the likeness of a person you already know and trust is going to make a difference. So I think of people who, you go to a convention, you're at a trade show booth, you're at a floor, you're doing a presentation, you meet hundreds of people. Those people are also meeting hundreds of people, but yet you can follow up with a script with some variable fields like their name, the event you met them at, maybe you took a note on something you talked about. You plug that into kind of a fill in the blank script, push a couple clicks, and like magic, you have 100+ personalized videos created in minutes that can link back with your customer management system. And those emails are sent out. So it's not only a follow-up, but it's a follow-up that reinforces who you are as a person. Because I don't know anyone creating 100 personalized videos on their own after an event. From another business perspective, anytime you need to create training at scale, but that training has to maybe be localized. So you can imagine that maybe let's say you're in HR benefits and every state does benefits a little differently, but you're a national company. So you need to create a base training, but then customize that information for members of your organization across 50 different states. You can use this technology again to kind of personalize and communicate at scale. So you're not reinventing the wheel and you're able to get a lot done very quickly and in a way that's personalized and customized to a specific audience. From a, oh, sorry, go for it.
No, you're good. I was just gonna keep on continuing on that and then I'll ask.
Okay, sure. From a feel good standpoint, what I think is so amazing is that we have the capability now to preserve the auditory and physical presences of people that may be going through treatment, that may be losing their voice. So it's a way to capture a voice forever. You're able to capture a likeness forever. And to me, there are so many instances where that can be useful.